for the coming day. All right, good morning, traders. Today is August 12th. Happy birthday to my son, Ian. It's his birthday today. How I plan to trade SPY today. Hey, I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land, and my subscribers. Thank you for following my content, liking my content, paying for my content, sharing my content, leaving kind comments on my content. Love it all. Thank you so much for, accompanying me on this trading journey. All right. Let's go ahead and pull out the market summary of what happened yesterday. Let's see what we can do here. And we want this one right there. Okay, so my SPY pivot this morning, 636.70. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. QQQ made a new all-time high yesterday. Now that's interesting. FNGU and SPY made higher lows and higher highs, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. They've been just inking out a higher high almost every day now for the past 5 days. IWM made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. Diamond Dow made a lower low and a lower high, closing below a bearish trap and under the 17. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Silver still in an uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bullish trap and under the 17 EMA. Gold still technically in a daily downtrend, but not moving down, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bullish trap under the 17. USO in a daily downtrend, made an inside day that's a lower high and a higher low, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. UNG in a daily downtrend, it's got that bearish head and shoulders pattern, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17 EMA. US dollar index in an uptrend, closed near 98.45 area. SPY max pain for today, that's for the options that expired today, 634 with a put to call ratio of about 1.25 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. All right. So what do we got starred today? We still got CLS is starred. All right. So it's still kind of in that launch pad look, and LKQ and ENTG have that platform look for another leg lower. Okay. So we'll look at CLS real quick on that one. See what we can find on that. Let's move this out of the way. Let's take a look at CLS. All right, on the daily chart, of course. Okay, CLS got like that launch pad box getting constructed. Okay, right up there over that green candle, or actually over this red candle. Nice breakout to the upside, possibly coming. I like all those higher lows all through there. Look like a breakout is imminent there on CLS. We'll see. Again, breakout over the top of that red candle body right there. Okay, LKQ, right? That was the other one, LKQ. All right, it's got that launch platform look. Again, you've got consolidation right through here. Again, underneath, well, it's already starting to break out right there. All right, and you can see in the pre-market, yeah, well, they're still about the same place, okay? So getting ready to break down, okay? So look for it to break below that green tail down there on LKQ, all right? That's the platform for another leg lower, all right? Now, what do I like about this one and the next one coming up? Let me see if I can dig out my drawing tools real quick here. Not sure why they disappeared. That's kind of funny how that does that. Okay, so price comes down. Let's do it again. Price comes down. All right, it's not going to work. All right. Let me just bear with me. All right. Not sure what's going on. Let's take these tools. And refresh them. Snipping tool, Epic Pen. That's the one. End task. try it again. Okay, there it is. Oh, way up there. All right. Okay, take that out of the way. Let's get the drawing tool. Okay, so price comes down. A little bit thicker. Price comes down. Well, let's just say right there. And then moves over to the right. Okay, so it's got a platform. Typically, okay, not all the time, you get another move lower like that. Okay, so that's LKQ. All right, we'll visit one more and we'll see what happened with the other one here. Just a second. And the other one is ENTG. All right, so let's take a look at ENTG. Another one with the platform here. You can see price action moves down. All right, and then over to the right. So you can see a move down and then over to the right. So we're looking for this to break below the body of that red candle. Looks like it's already started. So that's ENTG typically, and get another move lower. Okay, we'll see what happens. That's ENTG. Both of those, both are kind of extended there. So be careful with both of them. The breakout may not be deep. Again, you've got a floor right here. Okay, over to the left. See that? All right, so don't expect a huge $5, $10 move down to the downside. You do have some signs of bulls stepping in right over here. Okay, so be careful on both of those. Notice most of that came from the gap down. All right, let's take a look at SPY. All right, and let's take a look at it on the 10-minute chart. Okay, so we left off with a 10-minute downtrend yesterday. So looking for a continuation of that 10-minute downtrend to the downside. Okay, now bear in mind, we do have CPI coming in today, okay? I don't think CPI is really going to matter since I think they're going to replace the lead chairman of the Federal Reserve. Looks like the president wants rate cuts sooner than what they're willing to give them, all right? So it looks like he's going to get replaced regardless. Meanwhile, they have said that they have scheduled rate cuts for September, okay? They haven't confirmed them yet, but I hear that's in the works, rate cuts in September. So I think if CPI is just normal, the markets will rally. I think if it's bad, I don't know. I think the markets are going to probably sell off just a little bit. I don't know what would be good or bad. I mean, 2.5, 2.7, maybe 2.8. None of that's really that bad. But we'll see what they want to do. So CPI's coming in today, all right, at 8:30. Okay, so there's SPY 10-minute downtrend. Looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend, okay? Candles I don't want. I don't want green candles, okay? Green candles show me bulls are in charge, all right, of that time frame or of that candle. So I don't want green candles. I don't want candles, even if they're red, with big sweeping tails down at the bottom. Okay, notice bears pushed price down, bulls pushed it all the way back up here. All right, that shows me more bullish control than we have bearish control. Okay, notice this more tail than there is body and wick. All right, so I'm not interested in that. Not interested in any spinning tops. Not interested in any dojis. All right, so no dojis, no spinning tops. All right, because that just tells me bulls and bears are satisfied with the way price is. Okay, so I don't want no spinning tops. I don't want no dojis. I don't want no big sweeping long tails where you got more tail than you got body and wick. I don't want any green candles. Okay. All right, I'm looking for a red candle for the continuation of that downtrend. Now, that may be the exhaustion candle. I don't know, all right? Again, CPI is coming in. What do I like? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, all right? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP inside a 2-hour uptrend. that's inside a daily uptrend, that's inside a weekly uptrend, that's inside a monthly uptrend. I got all those time frames pushing price to the upside or supporting price from going lower. Okay, I like that. All right, so a lot of momentum in the same direction. Okay, trades tend to work out a lot easier, a lot better when you have all those time frames supporting my 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. We'll see what happens. Yesterday we got some chop, okay? Yesterday we had price went down under VWAP. You can see the brown line comes up here. Over VWAP, doesn't go any further. You can see no follow through, comes back down. Under VWAP, then we get a 5-minute uptrend, back up over VWAP. Notice rubber band candle just barely breached by a red candle. All right, and then we come sweeping back down to start a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, which got held up on support right through here. So all of this is consolidation support all through here. So you can see price started up here, got that 10-minute downtrend all the way back down to the support area, okay? Looking for price to probably break below the bottom here. See this right here, this candle right there. So below, let me get the crosshairs out. Okay, so I'm looking for price to get below probably about 535, okay? 535 and lower. Now my first stop, all right, is obviously going to be the open market low, which happens to be, well, about 635.15 right there. Get below that. All right, and then the next target will be the beginning of the open gap. So the low of this candle, 633.74. So that'll be the first profit I'll be taking when we get a break below there, 634.74. Okay, and then I will look for gap fill. All right, you got an open gap down here. All right, and then for the breakup candle low right down here. So we're looking for the breakup candle low after we get the gap fill. And then, of course, the low of day for the 7th right there, 629.06. And then the low of day right here, we got some support located right about 627.69. Okay, so that's the plan for today. Okay, for price to come down. Now, on the upside, okay, we got a game plan here. Okay, if price is up over 636.70, all right, I'll be looking for a green erases red entry over 638. Okay, so 638 is a green erases red entry for me for the bullish side. That would be calls. Okay, again, 636.70. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. On the bearish side, we have a break, okay, below 635.15, which is obviously, you can see the pre-market there. If we get below that, that is a bearish entry to the downside to come down here and test the top of this open gap right there. So there's the SPY game plan. Now, what do I like? I like 3 days till expiration, Friday options on the multiple of 5, okay? $3 to $15 out of the money. Those are what I like. I like 10 days till expiration, Friday options on the multiple of 5, $3 to $5 out of the money. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and breaking away. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP and breaking away. Okay, both of those. If I happen to get a 10-minute uptrend that manifests up here long before the red erases green entry down here, okay, if it breaks the rubber band candle, I will be highly interested in trading it. Okay, I got to remember that this is counter trend and it may fail. All right, because most of the market is bullish at this time. Okay, so that would be counter trend. Okay, so, and if I get a green erases red, okay, on this side, or a 10-minute uptrend that happens to manifest down here long before the green erases red entry, okay, and it breaks the rubber band candle on the 10-minute chart, the bullish rubber band candle, okay, I would be highly interested in trading that to the upside because we have in a daily uptrend still, and a weekly uptrend, and a monthly uptrend. All right, so if it happens to manifest down here, I will look for that trade to the upside. Probably back to VWAP, probably back to the pivot, and then up to this high up here where price failed a couple times before. That would be 638. And then if they get on top of that, That's an entry to the upside, okay? So there's SPY, all right? 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. That's what we're looking for. Or 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so there's SPY game plan. Let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. And you can see on the 2-hour chart, we have right here. Let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. 2-hour, you see the 3 is on top of the 8, so we have a 2 continuation of that 2-hour uptrend. Okay, notice the 3 never crossed underneath the 8 here. Okay, so we got that 2-hour uptrend continuing. Okay, on SPY, 2-hour uptrend. All right, on the daily chart. Okay, you can see SPY puts in a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap. See the 3 on top of the 8. Okay, over the 17 right here. That's the green dots right there. So higher low, higher high. That's bullish, closing over the trap. That's bullish over the 17. That's bullish, all right? If we look where we are, here's the quad lines. We're up here in the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, okay? We're still in an uptrend. We'd have to take out this low or this low to start a downtrend, okay? So right now, still in an uptrend, SPY, still bullish at the top of quadrant 4, okay? So there's SPY. QQQ, all right? Let's go back to SPY one more time so I can show you. All right, weekly chart, okay? See all the green dots right through here? Still in a weekly uptrend, okay? Weekly uptrend. See this weekly uptrend? Still weekly uptrend up there. Monthly chart. See all the green dots? Still in a monthly uptrend, okay? Remember what I said. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, all right, that are inside 2-hour uptrends, that are inside of daily uptrends, inside of weekly uptrends, inside of monthly uptrends. I got everything pushing wind in my sails, filling my sails with that energy to lift that security or that index to go higher, okay? So there's SPY for today. Let's go take a look at QQQ. Remember QQQ yesterday on the daily chart. Okay, look here. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17. All of that's bullish. And nonetheless, new all-time high for QQQ. Just dropped the mic. There's nothing else to say. It doesn't get any better than that unless, of course, it closed at the end of the day at the high of the day. Okay, that's about the only time it gets better than that. All right, but they did that the day before. All right, on Friday, right there. At the end of the day, at the high of the day. Okay, so there's QQQ, daily chart. Back way out, okay, obvious uptrend. All right, we're up at the top of quadrant 4. We're bullish. See all the green dots? Obviously, we got an uptrend, okay? So if they happen to take out this low, they will negate the uptrend and convert the downtrend. So there's QQQ, okay? Bullish and in an uptrend, just like SPY. Bullish and in an uptrend. All right, so even though we may come down today, just saying we may come down today, okay? We're still bullish even if we have a retracement. If we break below this low right here, which I think is 620, well, this one is 552. Getting below that converts this uptrend into a downtrend, all right? Right now, everything is still bullish, all right? We may have a pullback today. We may start to consolidate up here at these highs. QQQ and SPY. Wouldn't be surprised, okay? We'll see what happens. Okay, so QQQ. 2-hour, okay? Still got the uptrend. 10-minute, same deal. 10-minute downtrend into the close. 2-hour uptrend into the close. Daily chart, well, new all-time high. Doesn't get any better. Like I said, weekly uptrend, see? 3 on top of the 8. Monthly uptrend, see? 3 on top of the 8. Okay, everything's working out. QQQ and SPY. Okay, just got a 10-minute downtrend. I'm running fast because I don't want to run behind. All right, FNGU. Let's take a look at this on daily chart. Okay, price action still holding the higher ground up here. Okay, you look at price. Price moves up and over to the right. That's like planking for a whole month. Okay, that takes incredible strength to plank up here in quadrant 4 all that time, okay? That's bullish up there, okay? But let me just say, they got themselves into a downtrend, okay? Because there's some See, there's some little tails that come below the 17 right here. Well, they made lower lows than those tails, okay? So those little pullbacks, they made a lower low. So they got themselves in a downtrend, okay? Remember, it's just a label, all right? So we got up here. Notice maybe they're in a downtrend, but look, they're not moving down. They're moving up, okay? So they're in a failing downtrend, okay? We like that. Consolidating at the highs up here at quadrant 4, okay? That's bullish. Technically in a downtrend that's not working. Right there. That's FNGU. IWM. All right? IWM. Daily chart. Okay? Got, forget what I said on this one. I think this is a, let's just check the crosshairs. Let's see. This is high of 221.68. 221.57. So higher low, higher high. Closing over or inside a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA, okay? They're in a downtrend, but they're not moving down, okay? They're moving up and then over to the right. Here's the low. They made a lower low. So IWM technically in a downtrend, but not moving down, okay? They're still up here in the upper third. That makes it bullish up there, okay? If they lose that upper third, start closing candles down here on the pink line again, all right? They'll just be neutral, all right? So IWM still bullish, okay? But in a downtrend that's not working, okay? Price moves up and over to the right. That's bullish. That's, again, planking for a whole month. That's bullish up there, okay? Had a little pullback here, and the bulls bought it up, right back up there, all right? So there's IWM on the daily chart. Okay, still bullish, but in a downtrend that's not working. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow up here in quadrant 4. Again, same deal. Okay, price action, all right, moves up and over to the right. That's bullish. Again, planking for another month. Notice the consolidation, okay, over prior consolidation. Okay, that is a bullish environment. That's a bullish behavior. That's a bullish characteristic, okay? Notice they break down and the bulls buy it up. Okay, again, they got themselves into a downtrend, much like the other indexes, by taking out that low right there, okay? So technically in a downtrend, but not moving down, okay? Notice they're moving up and over to the right. So there's Diamond Dow, top of quadrant 4. Again, bullish. This is another one in a downtrend that's not working, all right? Still consolidating over prior consolidation. Let's take a look at our T21s, all right? And you can see price action here. We had a down on the 15-minute, okay? So we had a downtrend, all right, that was working, all right? And then the bulls came in and popped it. Again, they failed to make a higher high. And then we failed to make another higher high again. So we came all the way down to the sell zone. All right, made an appearance yesterday. And then floundered around at the bottom of the sell zone, knocking on the door. Okay, floundered around on the seller's chop zone. The bottom of the seller's chop zone, knocking on the door of the sell zone, okay? So not much bullishness happening yesterday. Day before, even though QQQ got new all-time highs, keep in mind, QQQ only has 100 securities in it, and some of those securities are very heavily weighted, all right? So if you can get those 10 that are heavily weighted in there to move as a pack to the upside, okay, you can dig out a new all-time high, even if the other 90 are all moving in the other direction, all right, which is kind of what it's showing you here. The other 90, y'all moving in the other direction, while those big cap heavyweights were all moving to the north side, all right? So you can see price action T21.22, all right? Got more consolidation under prior consolidation. So not looking good for the bulls, all right, today, all right? And not looking for the bulls, good for the bulls yesterday either, all right? So there's T21.22 knocking on the door of the sell zone. We could find ourselves in the sell zone today. We'll see what happens. Again, CPI comes out. I'm curious what it's going to be. Thank you in advance, Alan, for sharing it. All right, so take a look at T21.23. Yesterday, selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day and then consolidating. Look at the low of the day. Like I said, the outlook for today is not good. All right, so it's looking bearish. Selling, we're underneath this 200 SMA right there. About the only thing that could probably save it is the FNGU. All right, so we'll see if they got enough juice to save the day. 15-minute chart, T21.23, okay? Still in a downtrend, okay? Why? Because it's making lower lows. See here, so low underneath the 17, they're making lower lows. So we haven't made any higher highs yet. So we're still in a 15-minute downtrend caught underneath this 200 SMA, okay? Kind of showing, I got to say it, all right? I don't really want it, but I got to call them balls and strikes. Kind of showing a head and shoulders pattern here right now. Okay, got the head, right shoulder, left shoulder. We'll see what happens, all right? Maybe the bulls will come in and rescue the day. We'll see what happens. T21.23, 3-bar chart. Okay, again, you got a low, higher low, higher low, high, higher high, higher high, okay? So we're still in, 3-bar is still in an uptrend, all right? Because we haven't made a lower low. We'd have to come all the way down here to make that lower low, all right? So price action right here, okay? You'd have to come all the way down here. Right now, consolidating, okay? Not really liking the consolidation. Okay, notice the consolidation goes down and over to the right, which kind of signals another move down. All right, that's what we're looking at so far. That's why the head and shoulders pattern is so popular, because this is typically what it does. Comes from the top of the head down to the neck, consolidates over to the right, and then makes another move lower, okay? Still up over that hooking 200 SMA, okay? Still up in quadrant 4. That's bullish up there, okay? 3-bar chart is still in an uptrend, okay? So notice on the bigger time frame, all the small caps and mid caps, because that's basically what we're looking at here, okay, are still bullish, okay, and in an uptrend in the bigger time frames, okay? But on the shorter time frame, 15-minute downtrend right now, okay? Still up over this hooking 200 right there, okay? So that's the 3-bar chart. And we're showing that head and shoulders pattern more clearly. Again, you can see here's the circle for the head. Okay, so trash that out and circle for the head. And then, of course, you got your right shoulder, which would be right here, and your left shoulder right there. Okay, we're looking for a move down on the, that's the left arm. We're looking for a move down on the right arm. We'll see what happens. Maybe the bulls will rescue the day. Got CPI coming out in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and counting, okay? T21.23. All right, that's the 3-bar. Let's take a look at FNGU. Yesterday, okay, so we had a little bullish rally. All right, and then they pulled the rug and just let it free fall for the rest of the day. Okay, see, nice 10-minute uptrend or 15-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, see the green dots. Okay, that's what probably gave QQQ that new all-time high. Again, right there, and then you just pulled the rug and let it free fall all the way back under VWAP right there. Okay, and then we're consolidating in a bear flag. Okay, will be interesting to see what happens. Okay, so we got to move down and over to the right. Okay, maybe another move down. I don't know. Right now we're up over the 200 SMA. That is a very bullish outlook. Okay, we are still holding the highs up here. Now if we back way out, you can see price action. All right, we're going to grab the sticks. All right, you can see price action moves up and over to the right. Again, planking for the whole month of July and half of August. That's a bullish outlook. That's a bullish behavior. Not really giving it up, okay? Notice, not doing this, okay? It's doing this, okay? That is a bullish outlook. Typically, you get something like that that comes afterwards. We'll see, all right? It's looking good right there, looking like a failed lower low right here, failed significant lower low, coming back up to test the highs. We'll see what happens. Look like we got a little Candle just shot up. Somebody likes some CPI that's coming out. We'll see what happens. That's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at what else I want to look at. Oh, consolidation. Notice the consolidation over prior consolidation. So here's consolidation over prior consolidation over prior consolidation. Again, bullish outlook. That's a bullish environment. All right, so that's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at a few other products, and then we're going to go look at the economic data that's coming out. Okay. All right. First one we're going to look at USO. Okay, USO. Again, USO goes up. All right, and gives it up. Okay. See this? They got a habit. They go up. They give it up. They go up. They give it up. They go up, and look, they give it up. Okay. So they made a lower low. See these lows here below the 17? They made a lower low. Okay. So that puts them technically in a downtrend. Okay, they're in a downtrend because they made a lower low. All right, they're right on the midpoint, right on the all-time high anchored VWAP, or the 3-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, this goes back to 2022 right there. That's that post-COVID high. Okay, so again, right back at the midpoint, moving up, giving it up. So just neutral on USO. In a downtrend, all right, right now. Okay, so there's USO. UNG. UNG got a head and shoulders. That's the bearish head and shoulders right there. This is the head, that triple top crown right there. Okay, and then we got double top right shoulder, double top left shoulder, and you can see the right arm is extending down to where the left arm left off. This is right here. This is the all-time low at this low right here. Looking for them to come down and challenge that all-time low. Okay, and you notice here's the neckline. All right, and they tried to climb back up on top of the neckline right through here. Okay, here's your neckline. They tried to climb back up right there. I'll erase this. You can see how they tried to climb back up. All right, and they failed, and here we are digging out a downtrend and challenging the all-time lows right there. Okay. So UNG, in a downtrend, challenging the lows. Okay, let's take a look at silver. Silver, still in an uptrend, consolidating up here in quadrant 4. All right, notice price action still making higher lows and higher highs. Has it made any lower lows? And consolidating up here at quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. GLD, again, consolidating at the top of quadrant 4, over 300. It's been there for 4 months now. It's looking good. All right, this is bullish. Technically, they're in a downtrend, okay, because they got some lows here, and they made a lower low, but they're not moving down. Notice from this down, they broke this and broke the uptrend. Okay, from here, they went back in the other direction. Okay, so they got a failed downtrend. A lot of that going on. Okay, so there's gold on the daily chart. And this is bound to happen when you linger up here for 4 months straight and just hold the ground over 300. Okay, so there's the daily chart. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap and under the 17, but over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. So that's bullish. All right, it's bullish and technically in a downtrend till they take out that high. Okay, so that's gold. All right, let's take a look at the economic data. All right, first one we'll look at is the US dollar. Okay, so this is the dollar. Okay, and just going to squeeze it up here. Okay, this would have been major support if you're above it. Okay, all of that consolidation, all these valleys that come down and up, see them? All of this is major support. Okay, so all that's major support. We broke through major support. And then we came down and we tested it right here. Okay, so technically we're in an uptrend. Okay, we were in a downtrend. We broke major support. So now this is minor resistance. And now we're bear flagging over to the right. In this bear flag, we have an uptrend that has manifested inside of the bear flag. Okay, they'd have to come back up through here and make it through the minor resistance. All right, right now they're in an uptrend because they made a higher low and a higher high. All right, and it looks like they're making another higher low. All in all, they're still in a bear flag. Okay, again, that's a move down. A little bit thicker here, guys. Okay, move down and over to the right. Okay, so it's still a bear flag underneath. So there's a dollar, 98.42, 98.32 right now. Okay, US dollar in an uptrend. Okay, not a very strong uptrend, not as strong as this downtrend, but they all start somewhere. Okay, so there's dollar in a daily downtrend right now. Okay, max pain for today, 634. Okay, put to call ratio is about, well, 1 1/5 puts for every call that expires today. So there's 1.2 puts for each call that expires today. Max pain supposedly is 634. Pretty clear. Pretty sure we may hit that today. We'll see what happens. On the earnings front, okay, very light week this week as far as earnings go. Consumer prices rise 2.7 annually in July, less than expected amid tariff worries. And then CPI coming in here. Month over month, actual is 0.2% change, I guess. And year over year is down to 2.7, well within the range. We may rally today. We'll see what happens. Okay, that should look good. Maybe that might confirm the September rate cuts. We'll see. Okay, so Tuesday, again, just some familiar names, but nothing that's really going to move the markets. Wednesday, Cisco Systems 279. They're going to report in the evening tomorrow night. All right, and then some more familiar names. Again, nothing that's going to move the markets. Cisco's just going to help out the technology sector. Thursday, 147 billion. That's Applied Materials. Okay, they're coming in Thursday evening. All right, not really going to be a market mover. Definitely will probably help out the technology sector. John Deere, all right, 137 billion. They're going to report in the morning on Thursday. Again, more familiar names, nothing that's really going to disrupt the market. Friday, again, more familiar names, nothing that's going to disrupt the market. So you can see a really light week this week. Okay, nothing really market disturbing. Whatever direction they want to head into, they can continue with wherever they're going. And it seems to be to the right or to the north. All right, on the economic calendar. Okay, we've got today, CPI comes in at 8:30, and that's it for today. Tomorrow, we got MBA mortgage applications at 7, and then a petroleum report at 10:30. That's it. Thursday, jobless claims 8:30, PPI final demand at 8:30, and a gas report at 10:30, and then that's it. And then on Friday, retail sales at 8:30, Empire State Manufacturing Index 8:30, import-export prices 8:30, institutional production 9:15, business inventories 10, consumer sentiment 10, and a rig count at 1. Okay, not really a big disturbing week as far as the economic data goes. Okay, CPI was the main event, and you can see that came in line. The market should rally. If it does not rally, that is a red flag. All right, so we'll see what happens. All right, we'll take a look at the pre-market. Just went through all of that. Let's go look at the pre-market, and then I'm going to call it a day. All right, so pre-market, let's look and see where we're at on SPY. Okay, it's got a nice little rally there. All right, so making a higher high. So beautiful higher high right there on SPY. Okay, so all-time high 640. Obviously, we're going to go challenge 640 and try to get up higher than that. So beautiful 10-minute uptrend. Okay, so that makes a big wide range. Look for price to pull back and J-hook off of all of this. See all these humps right up there? Like to see price J-hook right off the top of minor support. So I pull back to this area around 637.38. All right, we want to see price J-hook there. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. Thank you.